The former home of Nora Bernard was the first launch site for the Peaked Caps project held August 10, 2022. A sacred fire was lit for a period of 3 days to mark this important event. The location of the initial launch is important because Nora herself was among the many women who have lost their lives as a result of violence. Many who attended the launch have also experienced the loss of a family member or a relation through acts of violence. The launch and the display of completed peaked caps brings to a conclusion the efforts of a 3-year project and, it is hoped, help to some degree to move forward the healing journey for the families of murdered and missing individuals. Members of the immediate community and others who attended the solemn event were grateful for the Peaked Caps project, which was initiated by the Women of First Light organization with funding issued by the Department for Women and Gender Equality. After prayers and offerings at the sacred fire, those in attendance socialized and had a meal together, discussing the project and remembering their loved ones. The newly completed peaked caps were mounted on stands, photographed, framed, and the photos were then displayed in the community hall of Millbrook, Mi'kmaq community for all to see.
Marion teaches. There's a number of different layers. One, it's healing for the family. Like some of the women, when they completed their hats and they put them on, the power that they felt from that, and they were simply beaming, which are people who've been covered in grief from the murder of a loved one, and it gave them some hope and it gave them some strength and resilience. And so that's the real beauty of it. And then the other is to raise more awareness around the issues of missing and murdered Indigenous women and how we need to respect women and really look at what the role of Indigenous women is in communities and work on bringing that back. So there's different layers to it.
A lot of their heart, their emotions, and their courage to wear that. So when you put the peak cap on, it's a whole different piece of empowerment. You are now receiving some kind of energy that gives you that courage to go forward. It's amazing. It's beautiful, and it's a beautiful moment, and the families are very proud of seeing their pieces of work up. But at the same time, these are only up because of a family member that was murdered or went missing. That's heartbreaking.
You probably cannot find an Indigenous person who hasn't been impacted in some way from someone who's missing or murdered. Like almost everyone has a family member or is close to someone who has a family member. And so it's just such a widespread problem. And, you know, in the long run, you hope that the Canadian public realizes that this is not acceptable and that society changes so that Indigenous women are valued. The soapstone carving is by someone who's a Mi'kmaq carver from Newfoundland originally, and it's made out of soapstone and then inlaid with copper, and it's a woman in a peaked hat, and it's truly inspirational, and he is so deeply moved that it is a part of this project. So yeah, we're just really proud of how beautiful it is, and it just kind of epitomizes the strength of women in lots of ways.
Ego igane, ego igana, guanalia guanodanahi, guanalia guanodanahi, Guanalia guanode, Guanalia guanode, Guanalia guanoda, Deyoka, 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 Deyoka. Guanalia guanodanahi, Guanalia guanodanahi, Guanalia guanode, Guanalia guanode, Guanalia guanoda. Hey no, daho.